There is nothing wrong with your body. The problem isn't you, it's how you've been taught to talk about it. In the midst of what people are calling a skinny apocalypse, I thought that it was about time we sat down and had a little chat. Everyone is shrinking, and bodies are being celebrated for being taut and sharp and snatched and toned. But how are you supposed to feel when your body is soft and flowing and curved and round? Is the only way to feel truly comfortable in your body to be wealthy enough to change it? Or is that just what a multi-billion-dollar industry wants you to think? Could there be a secret, more affordable option that they don't want you to know about? And is it possible that we already have the tools to access it? What if, now hear me out, what if the antidote was a little bit of introspection and self-love? Crazy, I know, but listen, I've been on the internet for many years. I've been talking about this shit on the internet pretty much the entire time I've been on the internet, and I'm not about to stop now. In fact, many of you guys may have even found my channel from a video I did years ago called A Celebration of Saggy Boobs. And I guess you can kind of consider this video a celebration of soft necks. My neck has been something I was taught to be self-conscious of at a very young age. And my relationship with it has ebbed and flowed over time, but in witnessing the rise in looks maxing, people literally breaking the bones in their face to appear sharper and more defined, and chin lipo more and more on the rise, I fear we all need a little reminder of what a gift it is to be a walking work of art. Someone that looks emotional, that looks unique, that looks like you. And listen, if you are dead set to adhering to the ever-changing beauty standard and are not keen on introspection or asking yourself why you feel the way you feel about your body at all, you're probably not gonna like this video, and you're probably not gonna fuck with me as a person. There are so many other creators for you. Not me though, bitch. And when it comes to content that'll make you feel good in your body, Cheeks, the sponsor of today's video, is always gonna be one of the first recommendations that comes to my head. Cheeks is a sexual wellness subscription platform offering ethically produced spicy films, sensual audios, as well as expert-led masterclasses on intimacy and pleasure. It's female-founded, inclusive, safe, and just a hub for content that more accurately reflects my own experiences and desires than a lot of other spicy content available online. And Cheeks has a bunch of original productions on their site that I'm obsessed with. They have this new series called The Naked Journey, which follows a real couple as they're traveling the world, combining sensuality and adventure. And it's cool because it's one part travel diary and another part romance. It's honestly different from any type of content I've consumed before, but obviously since it's on its own platform, they have a lot more free reign with what they're actually allowed to post. It's nice to consume content that is both hot and romantic while still being reflective of your own experience in your body and what you personally find sexy. And Cheeks' subscription model ensures that all content is high quality, ethically produced, and respectful of performers while directly supporting the creators and creating a more empowering experience for viewers. So if you're interested in trying out Cheeks for yourself, you can use my code Maddie7 for a 7-day free trial when you scan the QR code on screen or click the link in the description down below. I was a teenager between the years of 2010 and 2017, and there was some pocket of time within those years where double chins were really funny for whatever reason, and people were constantly scrunching their necks down, trying to overemphasize their double chin to make jokes about how ugly they were or how gross they felt. For me as a teenager, there became a very clear equation during that time with soft necks, soft jawlines being associated with a negative reaction. Now, of course, this wasn't new, but that was the first time that I became aware of it as a teenager. Those years where you are like experiencing what it's like to have a body for the first time while simultaneously realizing what all the various rules are about what is deemed desirable and attractive on that body are tough, okay? We're all in agreement there? Love that for us. Now, my relationship with any part of my body kind of remains the same, which is that there are some periods of time where I am going to be way hypercritical of what I look like, and there are some periods where I'm gonna feel totally at peace with what I look like. My goal for myself has always just been to increase the amount of peaceful time I spend in my body, not to totally eliminate the kind of struggle that I feel. I have grown up struggling with my body image. This is not a secret. I've been very candid about this. As is true for many plus size people, because we live in a world that is famously unkind to anyone who doesn't look one specific way. I don't need to explain that to you. You know, I know, we all know. And as someone who's been making videos for 15 years, I've obviously spent a lot of time on camera. I've also edited every single video that I've ever published online. But not only am I the one in front of the camera filming, but I'm also the person that's watching everything back and looking at myself for hours on end while I edit. As you can imagine, being someone who struggles with body image, having to sit down and stare at yourself for hours when you're having a bad day, not the most fun thing to do. There have absolutely been times where I'm editing myself talking, editing myself laughing, editing myself slouched on my couch doing the podcast have been difficult for me. And I think over time, I started realizing more and more that when it came to my neck, I was always more critical about myself when I was experiencing joy. I was laughing. I was being very highly expressive. I was emoting a lot. Or like I said, I'm relaxed. I'm laying on the couch. I'm losing my mind watching reality TV or on FaceTime with one of my best friends. I was noticing that I was becoming hypercritical of my neck in moments that were otherwise incredibly positive. So there came a point where I had to stop and ask myself, what is it that I am subconsciously telling myself when I am becoming hypercritical of a part of me that becomes more apparent when I am happy, when I am experiencing joy? What message am I sending myself? And these are questions that I ask myself all the time because I care a lot about protecting my younger self, protecting my inner child. Now listen, you guys know me. I am a lover of unfollowing people on Instagram if their content makes me feel like shit. I've been unfollowing people who get chin lipo for like 5 years because there's something about following people who used to have features like mine but chose to get rid of them that feels bad for my mental health. And that's no shade to them. Ultimately, it's everyone's decision what they do with their bodies, and it's my decision of what I want to subject myself to on my internet. I care a lot about making sure my feeds are a reflection of my own values, body image values being a very high priority of mine. I think I'm very protective over my mental health when it comes to body image because of how much I've struggled with it in the past. It's important to me to make sure that I know that the inner child, the young version of me that lives within me always knows that she is beautiful and wonderful and gorgeous exactly as she is. And she doesn't have to feel any kind of pressure to change her body. And I just feel like seeing a bunch of people who look like me constantly do that, not good for my mental health. And I think that that's true for most people, actually. I've talked a lot on my podcast about my general opinions on plastic surgery and Botox and the like, but to give you kind of a brief recap so we're all on the same page here, at the end of the day, I think that everyone should do whatever they want with their own bodies. However, I don't subscribe to choice feminism, the idea that something is inherently feminist just because a woman chose to do it for herself. I don't believe that we live in a vacuum and the choices we make about our appearance and what we value in our appearance just come out of nowhere. We weren't born thinking the things we do about our bodies. So I just encourage people to look at it from a more introspective light. Ask yourself difficult questions. Don't just brush off the conversation by being like, oh, well, it's just what I like. It's just what I prefer. Okay, but why? Why do you like it? Why do you prefer it? That's fine if that's still the conclusion you come to, but I think we should talk about where our preferences come from, why we believe the things we do about our body, and why it's more than just a personal choice that's totally uninfluenced by the world around us. Like, we don't live in a black hole. We are absolutely influenced by diet culture and the ever-changing beauty standard. The things we want for our own bodies, the insecurities that we feel, don't come out of nowhere, don't exist out of nowhere. So yes, by all means, do whatever you want with your own body, and there's nuance. It's just a little bit more complicated than that. And that's part of why a conclusion that I came to is just that I need to be following people whose body image values and ideals reflect my own. There's a whole lot of negative body image content in the universe. I don't want to contribute to it, and I also don't want to consume it. I am always going to be critical of the larger structures and ideals that make us feel the way that we do, not the individual that is feeling those things. But I am always going to encourage people to dig within themselves and ask themselves the harder questions, because I do think so often it's brushed off as just being a personal choice, but it's not really. It's way more complicated than that, for better or worse. When I look back and think about all the photos that I never would have posted if I listened to the voice in my head that told me to be overcritical about the way my neck looked, not because that was an organic thought of mine, but because that was a thought that was planted there from these larger body image conversations that have happened around me my whole life. If I had listened to the voice that told me to be so critical, all of the photos that I wouldn't have posted were photos of me laughing, were photos of me experiencing intense, all-consuming joy, were photos of me being silly, being goofy. I can guarantee you with 100% certainty that in all of the photos I wouldn't have posted, I will have looked 100% genuinely happy in all of them. I'm laughing, I'm living, I'm almost completely unaware of the camera in its entirety. What are we doing? Why would I want to scrub those moments from my life? Why would I want to freeze out moments of ferocious joy? So much of what beauty is now is living as if you were a photo, as if you were a person who is tucked and squeezed and posed in one specific position and you cannot move, freeze frame forever, learning how to morph your body into a still life so nobody knows that you are a real, breathing person who moves and folds and curves and slouches. No breathing, no moving, no laughing, no smiling, no living, okay? And what's popular in plastic surgery and our plastic surgery trends reflect these values as well. But as a woman with a too much gene in every sense of the word, what if I don't value beauty as a frozen, capturable image, but rather I value a life well lived, finding ways to capture beauty in the day-to-day. In every frame of life my eyes capture, rather than only memorizing the bits and pieces, flashes of life that were perfect enough for my brain to remember. What if I just value something different? What if the way I see beauty, the way I see bodies, the way that all of it impacts me is just different? And I think just growing up and realizing that the way the world values beauty and image and what counts as beautiful and what doesn't, what criteria goes into those things, getting older and realizing that, oh shit, I'm allowed to just disagree. I'm allowed to say, okay, word, that's how you guys see beauty? That's crazy to me, actually, because I see it a totally different way. That's okay. Actually, that's totally fine. You are allowed to see things differently. You are allowed to experience beauty and what life and beauty is supposed to be in a different way than you are being told. You're allowed to say, no, that's actually not the way I see the world. And thank God it isn't. Some people value traditional beauty. They value looking like they're 22 forever. They value thinness. They value being desired by as many people as possible. It's gonna sound like shade when I say that, but it's because I'm passionate. If that's what you value, that's fine. They value budgeting for injectables and surgeries. They value dedicating a large portion of their brain space dedicated to what it is they look like. I don't value that. That's not how I feel. And that's okay. I value laughter. I value community. I value creativity and feeling comfortable enough in my body to show up consistently without feeling this overwhelming pull to self-analyze all the time. I value aging. I value being emotional and sensitive and larger than life and too much. I have long valued self-acceptance and think it's a much better use of my time to figure out how to love the version of me that is the person that I am, rather than spending my life trying to figure out how I'd need to poke and prod myself, what I'd need to turn myself into to finally not have a single challenging thought about myself ever. I don't think that's realistic. That sounds miserable. I would rather just learn how to be kinder to myself and learn how to be at peace with who I am and what I look like because life is fucking short and I don't feel like being upset about this shit. It's dumb. And it's not what I value. And I was watching a video from What Zara Loves on Instagram the other day where she was talking about how numbness and emotional suppression is becoming synonymous with femininity. It is a fucking incredible video. Everything she was saying, I was like, abso-fucking-lutely. I'll link it in the description below. She references Rachel Sennett talking about how numb is in on a red carpet. I have to laugh a little bit because it's just so not me. And famously, I believe the exact opposite. But I had being mysterious on my outs list for this year. It's true. Stop being mysterious, stop playing it cool, stop being numb. Why? That is not, who likes that? That's so fucking boring. She talks about Botox physically disabling women from showing emotion and that becoming so connected to what it is that we see beautiful. And I understand that for some people hearing it worded like that might feel jarring and intense. But I actually think it's important to draw those connections and to say it in a way that wakes people up a little bit. And we've also been in this era where the deadpan internet persona routinely does numbers. People love a bitch with no emotions. Fortunately for me, they also love a bitch with too many emotions. Hello. It's not sexy to be emotionally indifferent. Also, indifference or numbness as a choice is inherently political, which she talks about this in her video as well. So many marginalized people have been pushed into emotional suppression. Take the angry black woman trope, for example. So to choose it in pursuit of beauty and social capital is kind of always gonna feel like a win for the patriarchy, no matter how you swing it. Again, I'm not really down with the choice feminism of it all. I think that we need to dig a little deeper, unpack things a little more. And you might be thinking, but Maddie, how does this all connect to the way your neck looks? But to me, it's so connected because this is the part of my body that is showing the most emotion. My face, the way I look, the way that my neck and chin look when I'm laughing and I'm throwing my head back or I'm making a joke and I'm talking and whatever the hell I'm doing. Like, our bodies are always communicating. Every part of our body is communicating, but this part of my body is a major part of how I communicate with people, how people see me, how people interpret me. And as someone who has famously called herself the CEO of Lover Girls Worldwide, someone who is famously emotional at baseline, we're gonna have to talk about how the idea of being too emotional and needing to freeze yourself in time connects to how self-critical I have felt about my neck. And I get it. There are moments where I'm like, fuck, I didn't realize these things connected, but they do. But they do. And the topic of Botox and plastic surgery is always really tricky because obviously there's a wide range of opinions on this stuff, and hopefully I'm doing a good job of articulating myself, and if not, that's okay too. I'm a human. There's just more to that conversation than just bodily autonomy. Bodily autonomy is part of it, but I do think that we are smart enough to have a more nuanced conversation of the other things at play, the larger societal pressures to change the way your body looks to fit the beauty standard, to freeze yourself in the way that you look at this current moment in time because you don't want to look older, or you don't like the fact that there's lines on your face when you smile and emote. It makes me want to cry, it really does. I just love highly emotional people. I also love film and storytelling, and what are those things without being able to emote? And truly, sometimes I feel like I'm going fucking crazy because I'm like, is nobody else bothered by that? Does nobody else want to emote? You guys don't like emoting? I do. I value being able to emote. Holy fuck. Why is that crazy to say? To emote is to connect, and to sacrifice the spectrum of human emotion in pursuit of beauty really makes me want to throw up. It does. It makes me want to vomit. I want to look like me. At the end of the day, I want to be myself. Whatever cost that is, I want to be Maddie. I want to look like Maddie. I want to act like Maddie. I want to live in alignment with my own values and the things that I think are important. I want to challenge myself. I want to be introspective. If I caved in to every one of the insecurities that has been thrust upon me throughout my entire life, I can tell you right now, I would not be the person I am today. No world would I be the person I am today. I am who I am right now because I have fought tooth and nail to be this person. I refuse to be numb. I refuse to be ashamed of the way my body looks when I'm experiencing joy. I refuse to let the way I look become the most interesting part of who I am, to become so much of a priority inside my own brain that it's one of the top 3 things I think about every day. I can't do it. Those are things I'm not willing to sacrifice. I am too interesting and too complex and brilliant of a woman to boil myself down to those things. I won't. I can't. I will not. So I guess the point of this video is just to say, your soft neck is beautiful. There's nothing wrong with it. There has never been anything wrong with it. There is a lot of money being invested into industries that profit off of you hating yourself. But at the end of the day, you get to choose what it is that you value. And if you don't align with the current beauty standards and what the world deems as beautiful and important, guess what? That is okay. And the more I've thought about this, the more appreciative I have become of my soft neck, of my round face, of the way I look when I laugh, of how my body changes and morphs as I dance, as I throw my head back. How beautiful and wonderful is it to have a body that shows and reacts to life as you're living it? I think that's a beautiful thing, and I don't intend to let the world take that perspective away from me. So if you've been struggling in your body, no matter who you are, what you look like, where you come from, just know that I am rooting for you. I'm right here in your corner. Always have been, always will be. And we can disagree. We don't have to see things exactly eye to eye. At the end of the day, I am always rooting for you to have a more peaceful relationship with your body, however you may achieve that. If you want to see more of me, you can check out my podcast, Emotionally Online, airing twice a week. Our standard slumber party episodes happen on Thursdays, and our Vanderpump Rules rewatch show, The Pumpcast, airs on Tuesdays. And of course, if you want even more of me, you can come join us over on the Patreon. We have a Lover Girls group chat. I do extended podcast episodes, bonus videos. I do a bi-monthly art print club where I'm mailing out art and poetry that I'm making right to your doorstep. It's super fun. Would love to see you over there, and it is quite literally the best way to support me and the content I'm trying to make over here. I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video.